Screen is visible, students? Screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today's class, let me explain about what are called as a divergence, gradient, and curl of the vectors. So we'll be studying what are called as the divergence, gradient, and curl of the given vector. First one, I'll begin with the divergence. The closed integral, this you all know the formula, that is closed surface integral of the vector field F with respect to the surface ds bar. This gives the flux flowing across the surface S, right? If we take the closed surface integral with the of F bar, vector field F bar with respect to the surface ds bar, then gives the flux amount of flux that is crossing the surface S. Mathematically, divergence is defined as, what is divergence, students? It is defined as the outward flow of flux, the outward flow of flux, okay, per unit volume. This is the flux. The formula for flux is given by closed surface integral of F bar with respect to ds bar. This is giving the flux crossing the surface. Then if we take the flux per unit volume, that is the flux crossing the surface per unit volume, the flux crossing the surface per unit volume, as the volume tends to zero, that is limit as delta V or the volume tends to zero, then that gives the divergence F bar or the divergence of the vector field F bar. What it means here, divergence is defined as the net outward flow of the flux, that is closed surface integral F bar dot ds bar per unit volume, that is divided by delta V over a closed incremental surface. Okay, that is, it is denoted as divergence of F bar, and it is given by the formula divergence of F bar is equal to limit of closed surface integral F bar dot ds bar divided by delta V, as delta V tends to 0. This is nothing but our divergence of the vector field F bar. Then what is delta V? It is a differential volume element, incremental surface, or the differential volume element per unit volume. Okay, that is our delta V, differential volume element. Now, the example for the divergence is your cycle tire. Okay, cycle tire. If you open the valve, now say the cycle tire is full, it is completely full. Your cycle tire, it is completely filled with air. Okay, you have blown the air and it is completely filled. Right now, if I remove the valve, what will happen? If I remove the valve of the cycle tire, what is going to happen? Yes, what happens if I remove the valve of the cycle tire tube or the cycle tire? If I loosen it, what will happen? If I loosen the valve of the tire of your cycle, then what will happen? Yes, if the cycle tire valve is loosened, then what will happen? Air will start to flow outward, correct? Air will start to flow outward in all the directions, right? Air will flow outward in all the directions from that point, whatever is the point, that point starts to flow out in all the directions. Until what point the air flows out in all the directions? Till the volume becomes zero. Till the volume becomes zero. That is why here we are saying as delta V tends to 0 per unit volume, as delta V tends to 0 or delta V, that is the volume shrinks to 0. Volume shrinks to 0. I'll give one more example. Consider the balloon filled with air. Okay, you have blown the balloon, it is filled with air, right? Now suddenly say you are opening or you are say piercing the balloon with the needle. Then what will happen? The air will blow out of the balloon, right, and in all the directions, and the balloon will finally, it will be squeezed out, correct? It will be squeezed out, it will its volume becomes completely zero. Initially, what was the volume of the balloon? It was the volume of the balloon, right? Spherical, right? Then if you are piercing, then what is happening? air is flowing in all the directions, that is, it is diverging. We say that the air is diverging in all the directions, that is our divergence. Diverging in all the directions, or it is spreading out in all the directions. It is spreading out in all the directions. This is our concept of divergence. Okay. Then as the air flows out in all the directions, after some time what is happening? The volume will become zero. The volume shrinks to zero. Okay. Divergence of vector field F bar at a point P, again it is the outward flux per unit volume as the volume shrinks about point P. Divergence of vector field F bar at a point P, some point, is the outward flux per unit volume, that is this numerator divided by volume, that is denominator, as the volume shrinks about point P, that is delta V tends to 0. Delta V is what, students? It is differential volume element at the point P. Differential volume element at the point P. Hope this divergence is getting clear to you. Concept is clear here. Divergence concept. Yes, please. Divergence concept is clear to you all. What is meant by divergence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then this divergence of F bar, or the divergence of the vector field F bar, it is written as divergence of F bar. This operator, what you are seeing, this, okay, inverted triangle, it is called as the del operator. Okay, it is also called as the vector operator or the del operator. Then this del operator or the vector operator is given by dou ax bar by dou x plus dou ay bar by dou y plus dou az bar by dou z. What is ax bar? Unit vector in x direction, ay bar unit vector in y direction, and az bar unit vector in the z direction. This is the vector operator del, or the del operator. Okay, it is given by this formula. Please remember this formula. Okay, then if you are considering the vector, some vector, I am considering some vector, say f bar. Okay, then I can write that f bar as fx ax bar plus f by ay bar plus fz az bar. Is it not? I can represent it as x component in x bar direction, y component plus y component in ay bar direction plus z component in az bar direction. Now if I take del dot of f bar, this one, del is this vector operator, it is this formula, then f bar is this. If I dot del with f bar, del dot f bar, then I will be getting dou by dou x, that is fx, dou fx by dou x. What is ax bar dot ax bar? Ax bar dot with ax bar is how much? Dot operator, it is 1 or 0. The vector, unit vector dotted with itself, it is 1, it is not 0. The vector, unit vector, or the vector dotted with itself is 1, because their cos theta we are getting 0, angle is 0, vector dotted with itself, they are parallel, correct? Cos 0 will be 1, and hence we are getting the same vector. If it is a unit vector, then it will be 1, its magnitude will be 1. 1 into 1 will be 1, okay, according to our formula of the dot product. Okay, what is the formula for the dot product? Dot product is a dot b is given by vector a into vector b, that is magnitude of a into magnitude of b into cosine of angle theta between a and b. According to that formula, this ax bar dot ax bar will become equal to 1, correct? Then we'll be getting only dou fx by dou x plus dou f by dou y plus dou fz by dou z. This is called divergence of the vector field f bar. Divergence of the given vector field f bar. Take it as equation 3. That is, this is a divergence of f bar in the Cartesian system. This is in the Cartesian system. Similarly, we can also write the formulas for the divergence in other coordinate systems. That is, del dot f bar is equal to 1 upon r dou by dou r of rfr plus 1 upon r dou f by dou phi plus dou fz by dou z in cylindrical system, and in spherical system it is del dot f bar is equal to 1 upon r square dou by dou r of r square fr plus 1 upon r sin theta dou by dou theta of sin theta f theta plus 1 upon r sin theta dou f phi by dou phi. Okay, You all have to memorize these formulas. Okay. Divergence at a point indicates how much the vector field diverges about that point. Divergence means it is spreading out in all the directions. How much it spreads out in all the directions. The spreading factor, okay, that gives the divergence. The next concept is gradient of a scalar. Gradient of a scalar. We know a scalar quantity. Suppose if we take any surface, right? Will we mention that the surface is in right direction or left direction? It is upward direction or downward direction? No, we are not considering the direction of that surface. Correct? We say that this surface is there, its area is this much, okay, or its length is this much. We just only say some details about that surface. Okay, it is a scalar quantity. Let us say there is some scalar quantity W. It is the function of x, y, and z coordinates. There is some scalar function W. It is a function of x, y, and z coordinates in the Cartesian system. That is, this function is denoted as W of x comma y comma z. Now what I will do is I will apply the vector operator, that is del, to this scalar function. First, let us see what is del. We have already gone through that. Del is dou ax bar by dou x plus dou ay bar by dou y plus dou az bar by dou z. This is the definition of the vector operator or the del operator. The operation of the vector operator del on the scalar function, that is on W. Okay, if I perform del operation, that is this function dou by dou x of ax bar plus dou by dou y of ay bar plus dou by dou z of az bar, if I perform on the function W, scalar function W, then that will give me gradient of W. If I perform the del operation or the vector operation, okay, vector operator, if I operate on the scalar function, it is a scalar value, then I will be getting what is called as gradient of this scalar function W. Gradient of this function W, that is, I am denoting it as grad W or gradient W, that is del W, that is nothing but what is del? Dou by dou x ax bar plus dou by dou y ay bar plus dou by dou z az bar, that of W. That is, this is our del. I am operating this with the W, okay, with the W scalar function. If I do that, then what will be the my product? That is gradient W will be dou W of dou x ax bar plus it will be multiplied with each dou into W, dou W by dou x ax bar plus dou into W, that is dou W by dou y ay bar plus dou W by dou z az bar. Okay, this is what we are calling it as gradient of the scalar function. Gradient of the scalar function. Fine. Gradient of a scalar is a vector. Why, students? See, gradient of a scalar. Here, what is this? Is it not a vector? It is dou W by dou x ax bar. We are having unit vectors ax bar, ay bar, and az bar. Okay. So if unit vectors are there, they are giving the direction, and hence the gradient of W is a vector quantity. It is a vector quantity. Note that, students, divergence, that is, we are taking the value of the flux per unit volume. It is a scalar quantity. Gradient, we are operating the del operator on the scalar function. We are getting a vector quantity. We are getting a vector quantity. Remember these points. Gradient of a scalar coordinate systems are as follows. In Cartesian, that's what it is. Del W is equal to dou W by dou x ax bar plus dou W by dou y ay bar plus dou W by dou z az bar. In cylindrical, del W is dou W by dou r ar bar plus 1 upon r dou W by dou phi a phi bar plus dou W by dou z az bar. And in spherical, del W is equal to dou W by dou r ar bar plus 1 upon r dou W by dou theta a theta bar plus 1 upon r sin theta dou W by dou phi a phi bar. Just you all have to remember these formulas. Okay, formulas are important. Two other formulas on the gradient we have to note down here. Del operated on u plus w, that is del operator on u plus w, that will give del u plus del w. Del of u plus w is del u plus del w. Then del of uw is u into del W plus W into del U. Okay. Similarly, del of U by W, that is W denominator into del U minus U numerator into del W divided by denominator square, W square. Fine. Then we will go through few of the properties of the gradient of a scalar. First property is this gradient del W, it gives the maximum rate of change of the scalar function per unit distance. Okay, this first property of the gradient is, it is giving, application is, it gives the rate of change of the scalar function per unit distance, per unit distance. Second application is, it also gives the direction of this rate of change of W per unit distance, because it's a vector quantity, hence it also gives the direction of the rate of change of the W scalar function with respect to the distance. Third application is that this gradient del W, it is perpendicular to the surface. It is perpendicular to the surface of the scalar function. That's what example I gave you all. The surface is a scalar quantity because we are not considering any directions. We are not relating any directions to the surface. Okay. Hence it is a scalar quantity. The gradient del W at any point, it is perpendicular to the scalar surface which is passing through that point, or the gradient del W at a particular point is perpendicular to the surface. It is perpendicular to the surface, that is perpendicular to the surface of the scalar function. This is a third property. Then the fourth property says that there is one derivative called as directional derivative. Okay, we'll see what is the directional derivative. Directional derivative of W along the unit vector. The directional derivative of this scalar function W along the unit vector A bar is also the gradient function only. That is, it is given by the del operator on W dot A bar. Del W dot A bar, which is a dot product. Del W is our gradient function. Okay. If we take the projection of del W on the unit vector, we have seen while discussing the vectors, projection of vector A on vector B, that gives, suppose if you are projecting A bar on B bar, okay, then that gives A bar dot of B bar cos theta, A bar cos theta dot B. Okay, similarly here del W dot A bar, it is nothing but projection of this gradient W on the unit vector A bar. This is called, what is our directional derivative, which is projection of del W in the direction of unit vector A bar. Okay, I hope you all are following here, students. Yes, students,
Yes, sir.
I hope everyone following here. Okay, fine. Third property that we are going to study is called as the curl of a vector. Any ideas, students, what is the meaning of a curl? Curl means what? Curling. Any idea? It is a circulation, rotational. Okay. If we consider the circulation or the rotation of the vector field about any point, about the closed path, then that is what is called as the curl of a vector. Curl means it is the rotational property, the rotating property, circulating property. Circulation of the vector field or the vector flux around the closed path is called as curl of a vector. Mathematically, this is given by the formula curl of f bar is equal to, that is closed integral of f bar with respect to the length divided, that is our flux, this is our flux. Okay, that is closed integral of f bar, vector field f bar with respect to the length, that gives the flux. Okay, if we integrate that, we are seeing next, I'll show you when I will be explaining the line integral there, how it is giving the other values. It is flux f bar is given by closed integral of f bar, the vector field f bar, if you are integrating with respect to the length, okay, that in the closed surface, okay, that gives nothing but the how much amount of flux is coming from that surface, total flux, the total flux, because we are integrating how much flux is coming from that surface. Okay, this flux, if we divide by the normal surface area, as the normal surface area tends to 0, or as it shrinks to 0, that is we are applying the limit, that is nothing but our curl of F bar, curl of the vector field F bar. Okay, where delta Sn is area enclosed in the normal direction. Delta Sn is the area which is perpendicular to the vector surface. Suppose if this is our vector field F bar, okay, if this is our area, okay, this area delta Sn, this is our area Sn, this is perpendicular to the vector field F bar. This is what I'm showing the finger, this is our vector F bar. Okay, so this vector F bar is perpendicular to the surface. Okay, circulation of F bar per unit area as area tends to 0, whose direction is normal to the surface, is called curl of F bar. Okay, that is the what is our formula, is it not? Vector F bar per unit area as the delta Sn, or the area, okay, the area enclosed in normal direction tends to 0, that is nothing but our curl of the F bar. Delta cross F bar, curl is indicated by delta cross. Remember, what is gradient, how it is indicated? Del W. Remember, gradient, that is del W. Look here, this is how we are indicating gradient of a vector, del W. The curl is indicated by del cross F bar, that is curl of F bar. Okay, in other coordinate systems, the curl of F bar is given by delta cross F bar is equal to dou Fz by dou y minus dou Fy by dou z into x bar plus dou Fx by dou z minus dou Fz by dou x into Ay bar plus dou Fy by dou x minus dou Fx by dou y into Az bar. That is in Cartesian system, I can express it in the determinant form as del cross F bar is equal to Ax bar, Ay bar, Az bar, dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z, Fx, Fy, Fz. This is in Cartesian. Similarly, in cylindrical, del cross F bar is equal to 1 upon R dou Fz by dou phi minus dou phi Fy by dou z the whole into Ar bar plus dou Fr by dou z minus dou Fz by dou r the whole into A phi bar plus 1 upon R dou of R phi R Fy upon dou r minus 1 upon R dou Fr by dou phi the whole into Az bar. That is in determinant form. It is very simple to remember. You can remember the either ways. Either you can remember this formula or you all can remember it in the determinant form. Okay, if you remember both, it is well and good, but the determinant form is easier to remember as compared to the other one, is it not? Del cross F bar is 1 upon R in the determinant form, Ar bar, R Fi bar, Z bar, dou by dou R, dou by dou phi, dou by dou Z, Fr, Fy, Fz. Similarly, for the spherical system, del cross F bar is equal to 1 upon R sin theta multiplied by dou Fi sin theta by dou theta minus dou F theta by dou phi into Ar bar plus 1 upon R multiplied by 1 upon sin theta dou Fr by dou phi minus dou of R Fy by dou r multiplied by A theta bar plus 1 upon R dou of R F theta by dou r minus dou Fr by dou theta multiplied by A phi bar. That is, the curl of F bar in spherical system is 1 upon R square sin theta in determinant form, Ar bar, R A theta bar, R sin theta A phi bar, dou by dou r, dou by dou theta, dou by dou phi, Fr, R F theta, R sin theta, F phi. Okay. Next is the concept of integral, students. So this concept is clear to your students up till here. Concept of the divergence. What is divergence? The spreading factor. Then gradient of a scalar function. Then curl, the rotating, swirling, the curl, that is the rotating field F bar about the closed surface, around the closed surface. Okay, so these three we all have to remember here. One is the divergence, then the gradient, then the curl. Okay, I hope all these three are clear to you all, students. Yes, please. These three are clear to you all. Yes, students, these three are clear to you all. Any difficulty here up till here?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, we'll move on to the next concept. In electromagnetic theory, a charge can exist in point form. There may be a charge and that may be residing at a single point, correct? Then there may be a charge which may be residing on a line. There may be a line and there may be charges along that line. And there may be a surface, and on that surface the charges may be deposited. Or there may be a volume and the volume may consist of several charges. When we want to analyze such distribution of charges in electromagnetic field theory, when we want to analyze such distribution of charges in the electromagnetic field theory, then we require the help of integrals. Then we require the integrals. What are these different integrals? First one is line integral, second one is surface integral, third one is the volume integral. Line integral, surface integral, and volume integral. Let us consider the first one, the line integral. This is the curved surface. Of course, it is a line. How it is a line? Now, if I consider this curve from P to R, is it not a line? Of course, it is not a straight line, but it is somewhat like a line. If you consider the curve, okay, if I take a thread, and if I put it in the form of a curve, now when I make it straight, is it not a straight line? Yes. Is it not a straight line? Of course, it is a straight line. Yes or no? Hence, a line can exist as a straight line, or it can be distance traveled along the curve. It can be as a straight line, or it can be a distance or the curve along the distance traveled along the curve. Let us consider the field F bar. This is the field F bar. Okay, this is a field F bar. There's a flux flowing through the surface here, the field F bar. The curved path is between P to R. This is our curved path, what we are considering, P to R. It is nothing but our path of integration. We are integrating from P to R. This is our line, the straight line, P to R, the curve. This is called a path of integration, and the required integral is defined as follows. That is the line integral. What we are integrating here, that is F bar with respect to this elemental length. This is called as elemental length, dl bar. Okay, this is our curve. This is one small element, dl bar, along the curve. If we integrate this F bar with respect to this incremental length dl bar over the limits, over the integral from P to R, then that will give us what? That is giving us the amount of flux that is flowing through the surface. Okay, so what I told in the previous discussion, I will be explaining you all how we are getting this formula. Is the line integral of F bar dot dl bar. That is nothing but, it is another way, it is projection of F bar on this dl bar. Okay, if I take the projection of this F bar, so all these arrow what you are seeing, that is our F bar, is it not? F bar, if I project it on this dl bar, then what I will get? This is theta. This is theta. If I take cos theta, what I will get? Cos theta. Cos theta is adjacent side divided by hypotenuse. This is our adjacent side, dl bar. Okay, dl bar side is our adjacent side. Okay, then that divided by hypotenuse. Okay, so adjacent side is given by what? Dl bar cos theta. Correct? Dl bar is our adjacent side, and this F bar pointing arrow, that is our hypotenuse. If I take cos theta, that will give dl bar divided by the F bar. Okay, dl bar cos theta is adjacent side divided by F bar. Okay, so what will be? Cos theta is your adjacent side divided by hypotenuse. Okay, F bar. Okay, this is our cos theta here, right? So this is adjacent side divided by, that is F bar. Adjacent side is given by F bar cos theta. That is the projection of F bar on the dl bar. Projection of F bar on the dl bar, as we have considered projection of vector A on vector B. It is here I am writing integral from P to R, that is projection, that is F bar into cos theta into dl. Projection of F bar on dl bar is F bar cos theta into dl, that is according to the definition of our dot product. This is called line integral of F bar around the curved path L. Next is, if there are distribution of charges, along the line, let us say the charges are distributed like this, and we are considering the elemental length dl, small element. We are considering a small element dl bar, incremental length. Okay, then if we want the total charge, how much they are distributed along this line, what is the total charge that is distributed along the line, then for that we have to again perform the integral, which is called as line integral. That is, q is given by line integral rho l dl over the limits of the line. Okay, q is, that is line integral rho l dl over the limits of the line. This rho L is nothing but line charge density, that is charge per unit length. Charge per unit length. If I take this rho L, what is it is charge Q divided by L. So L and DL will cancel. What will remain? Q. So LHS will be equal to RHS. Correct? How it is? Rho L is charge per unit length. This line charge density. This Q divided by L. L and DL will cancel. Again, LHS will be equal to RHS. LHS is Q. RHS is also Q. Okay. Like this, I'll be able to find the charge using this formula of the line integral. Next, we'll see surface integral. Surface integral. In electromagnetic theory, charge may exist along the surface. There may be some surface. Along the surface, there may be charge. There may be some surface. Along the surface, there may be charges present along the surface. Okay. Now, how much is the charges present on this surface? Okay, that we can find out. Or how much is the flux that is passing through the surface? That surface. That also we can find out using the surface integral. If it is a line, we are using the formula of the line integral. If it is a surface, then we are integrating with respect to the surface. Integrating with respect to the surface. Okay. A charge may exist in distributed form, that is, it may be spreaded over the surface as shown in this figure A. Charges is spread out in the figure A. Then in the figure B, what you are seeing is the flux crossing the surface. There is some small surface. This parallelogram, what you are seeing, right? It is a small surface, ds. Okay. The flux is crossing this incremental surface, ds. If we are doing such analysis in electromagnetic field theory, then we go for what is called as the surface integral. Surface integral. That is, the integral with respect to a surface is carried out on the vector field which is related to the surface. Considering above figure A, we can write here total charge. How much is the total charge present on this surface? That is given by surface integral rho s ds. Rho s is charge per unit area. It is surface charge density. Surface charge density is given by charge per unit area. That is coulomb. Charge unit is coulomb. Area is meter square. Coulomb per meter square. If I substitute here rho s as Q divided by ds. ds is the area, or Q by S. Q by ds. ds and ds will cancel, and LHS is again equal to RHS. Correct? This is how I'm getting the value of the total charge existing on the surface. Next, if I want to calculate the total flux that is coming out of the surface, total flux coming out of the surface, yes, then that is phi is equal to surface integral. I have to integrate with respect to the surface now. In the previous one, line integral, I integrated with respect to the line, elemental length, to get the total flux. If it is a surface, then I have to integrate with respect to the surface. Surface integral f bar dot ds bar. It is again the projection of f bar on ds bar, right? That is projection of f bar on ds bar. It will be again same. That is, we will be getting f bar cos theta into ds. That is surface integral f bar dot an bar ds. I will explain you how it is like that. It is here. This is our theta. This is our theta. Okay. Then if I take cos theta, it is again adjacent side divided by hypotenuse. Okay. This whatever this ds is there, this ds surface. Okay, this is our vector field. It is our vector field. Whatever these arrow marks are showing now is our flux or the field f bar, vector field f bar. Okay. So cos theta is adjacent side divided by f bar, the field f bar, arrows. That is our hypotenuse. Okay. So cos theta is adjacent side by f bar. Adjacent side is f bar into cos theta. Adjacent side, this adjacent side is f bar into cos theta. Hence we will get what? F bar cos theta into ds. That is again the projection of f bar on the elemental surface area ds. Projection of f bar on the elemental surface area ds is f bar cos theta into the elemental surface ds. Correct? It is the surface integral. This is the magnitude. I have the magnitude here, f bar. Okay, f bar, if I integrate with respect to an bar, magnitude is f bar, direction is an bar. Okay, an bar. Then I will get the again the same thing. That is the total flux that is there on this surface, or the total flux crossing the total surface, whatever is given here. It is surface integral f bar dot en bar with respect to the surface. What is en bar? It is unit vector normal to the surface. Yes. Okay. The surface is enclosed. Suppose say if the surface is enclosed, we have a closed surface. Okay. You can take the example of a rubber ball, cricket rubber ball. Okay. If you cut it, then what will happen? It is not a closed surface, is it not? Rubber ball. If I cut it, or a tennis ball, if I cut it, then that is the enclosed. It is no enclosure. It is not enclosed. There is some hollow volume there. Correct. Now, if I consider the rubber ball as a whole or a tennis ball as a whole, that is the surface enclosing. It is enclosing certain charges. Correct. Then that surface integral is given by surface closed surface integral. Then we have to take the closed surface integral. If it is a normal surface, just a surface, then we take the simple surface integral. If it is a closed surface, then we go for the closed surface integral, that is f bar with respect to ds bar. This circle what you are seeing here on the integral symbol, that represents the closed integral. Hence flux is given by closed surface integral of f bar with respect to ds bar. What is this formula? It is a net outward flux of vector field f bar from the surface S. How much is the net flux flowing, or the net vector field f bar that is flowing from the surface S? That is nothing but the flux phi, total flux phi. Okay. In today's class, students, we have discussed starting from divergence. Okay, divergence. What is divergence? It is given by del v, that is divergence of f bar is limit as the closed surface integral f bar dot ds bar divided by delta v, as delta v tends to 0. I have given the example of the cycle tire tube valve we are opening, and the air is flowing out in all the directions. Air is flowing out in all the directions. Then we have used the vector operator del, that is dou ax bar dou x plus dou ay bar by dou y plus dou az bar by dou z. When I perform the operation del dot f bar, that is giving me the divergence of the vector field f bar, that is dou fx by dou x plus dou f pi by dou y plus dou fz by dou z. Similarly, I have in the other coordinate system. This is in Cartesian. Similarly, I can obtain the formulas in the other coordinate systems also. Next is the gradient of a scalar. We are having a scalar function and the del operator. If I operate this del operator on the scalar function, then I am getting the vector. What is that vector? Gradient of w, that is dou w by dou x ax bar plus dou w by dou y ay bar plus dou w by dou z az bar. Similarly, gradient of a scalar in other coordinate systems. These are few of the formulas related to the gradient and the properties of the gradient of a scalar. You will have to memorize these properties, remember them. Then coming to the curl of a vector, it is a rotating field surrounding the closed path. Rotating field surrounding the closed path. Suppose if you take a wire, okay, if you take a wire and if you are surrounding, if you are say wiring that, okay, rotating that, if you are wounding that along the former or surrounding the former, okay, then what you will get? You will get an electromagnet. What is that electromagnet? It is nothing but again the rotating field. Okay, you have the current rotating, that is producing the rotating flux, correct? So that is nothing but the one example for the curl of a vector. Okay, the curl of f bar is given by limit of closed surface integral f bar dot dl bar divided by the normal surface area Sn, as the surface normal tends to 0. That is del cross f bar is curl of f bar. Then in other coordinate systems, we have del cross f bar. Similar in the determinant form, it is expressed. Then del cross f bar in cylindrical. Then finally, del cross f bar in the spherical system, curl of f bar. Then later we have discussed what are line integral, surface integral, and volume integral. Line integral, okay, we have considered here and we have obtained the formula. Line integral of f bar dot del bar is equal to dl bar is equal to integral from p to r. It is a curve, p to R of f bar dl cos theta. That is the projection of f bar on dl bar according to the definition of the dot product. If I integrate the charges over the line, if I integrate the charges over the line, then that will give me the total charge. That is Q is equal to rho, that is integral, line integral rho L dl, where rho L is charge per unit length. Similarly, for the surface integral, we have the formulas. Q is equal to, that is surface integral rho s ds, where rho s is charge per unit area, coulomb per meter square. Then we'll be getting the formulas. Phi is equal to total flux, surface integral f bar with respect to ds bar, that is surface integral f bar into ds cos theta, or that is also equal to surface integral f bar dot en bar, that is with respect to the unit vector, magnitude multiplied by the direction with respect to ds, where en bar is unit vector normal to the surface s. And Q is rho L, sorry. If the surface is enclosed, then we'll be getting the surface integral, that is f bar closed surface integral f bar dot ds bar, that will give the total flux, outward flux of the vector field f bar from that surface. Okay. Any doubts here, students, in today's discussion? Any doubts? Yes, please. Any doubts, students? Yes. Samarth, any doubts? Samarth, did you all follow here? Samarth? Samarth? Kirti? Kirti? Patil?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Soham Raikar? Soham?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts, Soham? Did you follow what I discussed today?
No doubts. Yes.
Okay, fine. Rohan Chandekar? Rohan?
Yes, sir.
Anything not followed in today's class, Rohan?
No, sir. Everything clear.
Good. Shubham? Shubham? Bekwadkar? Shubham? Okay. Deepa Lamani? Deepa? Was it clear, Deepa, today's discussion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Deepa Rathod? Deepa Rathod?
Yes, sir.
Shubham, was it clear today's discussion? Any problem in understanding? Shubham? Shubham? Any problem in understanding? Any difficulty here? Deepa? Any difficulty? Rathod? Deepa Rathod, any difficulty in understanding? Deepa?
No, sir.
Okay, okay, fine
No,
then.
sir.
We'll continue in the next class. Okay, fine. Okay. We'll continue in the next class, students.
No, sir.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.